Good morning, guys, and welcome to iPump Smart. Just a quick video before we head off to Kenilworth. Big racing day on the cards. 11 races starting at 11:30, and track conditions is good. 1.18 millimeters of rain in the last bit. Nothing in the last 24 hours. 28 millimeters in the last 7 days, but that dries out quite quickly right now. On the side here is a lot of notes to consider, and yeah. Let's just quickly look at the extra tools we've got you. So here we can now filter on your different poly, turf contain, course and distance, the course itself, the distance, or the valid bomb rolls within the 151 to 251 meter range, depending on how far the distance is of the day. And here you can also toggle off between the 168 plus or 168, or only look at the last 84 days, or only look at the last 42 days, for instance. At the bottom here, we have also put all these, so if you let's toggle over in the history, we have put all of this detail on for you, every little bit of this detail on the bottom here in the form of a graph. If you don't like it, you can just switch it off. If you do like it, it does make for much easier reading than the actual detail, so it's much quicker to see it, and it's also on scale based on the timeline, so you can see the improvement of any specific horse. If you want to see more detail of a horse, you might simply hover over it, and you will get that detail. At the top here, we've got the split between bomb roll, bat, adjusted time, speed rating, median speed, exact distance, median speed. And another additional extra feature is now the top 6. So you're only concentrating on the top 6 because more than 80, maybe more than 90% of our winners comes from the top 6. If I say top 6, it's just top 6, 11, the top 6 yellow stars here. And then last but not least, we also added collateral form now for you. So you can quite easily now see when the horses has ran against each other on the same day, and that is obviously based on lengths and not bomb roll lengths or bat lengths. And if you hover over it, you can see the difference of the kilogram weight carried between today and the previous time. Like in this case, if you see Gimmy's Laddie 62 kilograms, and today Gimmy's Laddie is carrying 62. On that day he was carrying 60 over the 1200 distance when Keegan the Miller was running. Okay, so enough of that. If you just quite simply then go and filter out, you can, like for instance, if you know it's today's Kenilworth, so let's take out the poly, so we only pick the turf. And if you only look at Kenilworth, then you can do that. Or if you want to look at because it's a feature day, I'll keep the others in. If you look at the exact specific 1200 distance, you can do that. Or if you look at valid bomb rolls simply means everything within the distance category range of today's distance. Normally about, depending on the distance, between 151 meters and 251 meters from the distance today. And when you go up to the 2,800, 3,200, then the range changes to 401 meters. The top here, probability stats, we've now got 132 races at Kenilworth with this 1200 distance in a Class G. And if you look at that 132 races, you'll see the probability of each of these indicators to strike. In other words, what I mean by that is 35% chance on opening betting for the opening betting, the best in the market to win. But let's see if we can beat the opening betting percentage, and that is by bat C here. The bat curve or consistency curve over the last 8 months is also at 35%. And if I go down and see who's that bat C, I see it's rainbow colors. So nice little tools. You can do that for the top 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 to find the winner in your pick 6. Or if you're playing place accumulator, you can also see where are you bankering your PA horse. If you're playing quartets, then you quite simply go for place 1 to 4 or even place 1 to 6 on the feature days. And yeah, if you want to hedge, you can simply say, okay, give me the top 4 rated in any industry, in the category. What is my probability to hedge on my top 4? And on the top 4 in this specific race, you can see 72% is the highest. There's also 71, a 71, a 70, another 72. We move that to top 5, then we can get up to 85% on the T, on total with curve. And on the top 6, like I mentioned earlier, your top 6 does get at at least 80% of the winners in this specific distance and class. Your winner will come out of the top 6 in 87% of the 132 races based on top T. So in 87 of those 87% of those 132 races, the winner came from the top 6 on the T, total with curve. And that's quite easy then to also check. Let's just quickly look at what our highest percentage is for today. There's a 40% on Miss Hannigan, but yeah, it's running a lot of first timers, so I'm not so sure. 40% on Icy Blast again. Yeah, there's not a good, no good price on it. Let's see, 35% is here on Bat C, and another 35 on opening betting with Jazz Diva there. Let's see if there's any higher percentage. 33% here on Catalaya. Anyway, so you get the idea. That is quite simply to find. Last week at Kenilworth, the first race, Reef's only runner, not now lady or something lady, popped up with a 54% chance to win as top rated, and it won at 20-1. Here's a nice 40% as well here on Line Bet, on the Line Bet horse. And see if we can get anything more than that, anything higher than that. No, that's only 30%, 29 races. 28% here on 54 races. 45% here on Sylvana's Timer. Don't like the draw though. 36% there as well. On the second rated, there's another 36. Chansonetta Marina's got a 45 on opening betting, and then the last one here. There's no extremely high standout percentages today, unfortunately. So let's just quickly run through the card. I'm going to put my turf on for now for my graphs at the bottom, and I'm also going to put in my valid bomb rolls. If it's a windy or a rainy day, you can also filter out your by just saying yielding or soft or heavy or whatever the case might be to make things easier for you. You'll also see these flashing stars or flashing flames. Now those flashing flames are quite easy. It's the more red, the higher the percentage, and the more it flashes, the higher the percentage. So in this case, Mr. B. Nkunzi has a 50% win and 50% place record for this season, which is pretty decent. Other things, your top here will tell you what all these other icons means, like second run rest with a little red 2 or third run rest with a green 3. And then that's Joker. Now what Joker means is you'll see the owner, Gavin van Zyl, is also the trainer, Gavin van Zyl, and that's why the Joker's on there. And then when you see these colors changing, that's just for big merit rating drops. In other words, above 10. Merit rating drop like this. Master Point was a 80 at one stage, he's now a 68. So he dropped by 12, which is 6 kilos. So it just quickly tells you that a bit of danger, like change of stable for Caitlin's boy. So anything can happen with the blinkers that's been fitted. That's why the gear change is flashing here as well. And then all your rankings of every trainer and all your rankings of every jockey before the name, like 30 or 47. First is Justin Snaith at the moment. So, yeah, nothing really standing out in this race. Anything between Wiley's Riley, Gimmy's Laddie, Awesome Kerr, Rainbow Colors, Black Egret, even Caitlin's boy with the change of stable. Must have some sort of a chance in this race. Moving on to the second, Miss Hannigan is a green, like I said earlier, but your problem is you've got a lot of ones here. Of the ones, my first question would be, why is Keegan the Miller on a Golden Pacific if it was in fact Keegan the Miller that won on Miss Hannigan previously? That would be a question for me. Others here to consider is maybe the Gavin van Zyl potential double with dress to D. Nines, another red flame flashing here, which tells us 100% place with Gavin van Zyl and Jeffrey Solomons. So yeah, the data is all there for you to quite easily make up your own mind. So I'm not going to be able to do that for you in a couple of minutes. Third race here, if you look at collateral form, for instance, as an example, your collateral form at the bottom here is all together. Long ago, Icy Blast, Speeding Bullet, Manchester Fighter, Spirit Unite, and Pompey Warning. I just checked here, interesting observation from my side here was Jewel Cat did finish fifth, and yes, it was 4.4 lengths behind Icy Blast, but quite a major difference is Craig Banton being replaced by Grant van Niekerk. So yeah, intentions, without intentions to use form, you don't have form. So intentions to use form is very, very important. Yeah, Speeding Bullet on the exotic ranking. Exotic ranking simply means which is the first horse you need to add for your exotics. So that's an important indicator as well. That curve, the overall best average merit rating adjusted links behind on 42 days, 84, 168 days, or the curve on 280 with the adjusted time adjusted. So in other words, the actual adjusted time of that race. So in this race, I'd say Icy Blast, Jewel Cat, I wouldn't leave out at that kind of a price. Manchester Fighter, Speeding Bullet, they must all have some sort of a chance. And then I can't speak for all these first timers, but Captain Arrow looked pretty decent on the breeding side. If you look at the breeding, you can quite simply just click on the name and you can see he's a captain of Alan and Trippy. So yeah, that is quite a good breeding to work from. Moving on to the fourth race, and yeah, Mike Stewart's only got the two. It's simply beautiful, but the horse that pops up nicely for me is Mystic Cliff's only runner for Shane Humby with Garth Wright in the saddle. Now, just quickly observing that Jazz Diva and Mystic Cliffs actually did run against each other. Jazz Diva is obviously prone for more improvement, clearly, because he's only on his third run. And Mystic Cliffs is on his 13th run already. However, given the fact that Jazz Diva was an 8 draw, you can see there, and now an 11 draw, which is worse. That's why it's so dark. And Mystic Cliffs was an 11 draw and has now been gone down to a 7 draw. That should help Mystic Cliffs. They were only 0.4 lengths behind each other on your collateral form 0.55 and 0.95 here. From the kilograms, 59 moved to 60, 59 moved to 60, exactly the same. So the major difference here is the two things, the draw changes on both sides, which is 8 to 11 for Grant van Niekerk, and Mystic Cliffs are 11 to a 7 for Garth Wright, or Gareth Wright. That's the one thing that I noted in this race for Mystic Cliffs against the favourite. The other thing is also the fact that Mystic Cliffs has blinkers fitted for the first time. That's showing some more intentions there. And on top of that, it was backed in from 20 to 1 into 14 to 1 the previous race, where nothing was expected of Jazz Diva because it opened at 10 to 1 and drifted to 33 to 1 on the same race. With all of that being considered, the change of jockey, the change of the draw, the adjusted time, the lengths behind the winner, the previous draw versus the current draw, previous jockey versus current jockey, then the system says, okay, my bat figures looks 1.7 here on Mystic Cliffs and 8.47 lengths on Jazz Diva. So Mystic Cliffs may be a decent enough each way play. Then I would also definitely consider Simply Beautiful, quite frankly, because Mike Stewart has some intentions, because he books Richard Fourie here, best adjusted time. And he does have a 25% win and a 50% place. That's why it's so red and flashing. But also had some better form earlier to 4 here. It's again badly drawn with the 10. But maybe will also be involved in the quartet here. And then Global Songstress. Gavin van Sale is 3 for the day with Gavin Marina here. Did run very well second over the last exact course and distance, which also gives it a decent enough sort of chance. But my purple bat, or the bat CD, the exact course, exact distance bat, still leads me to this little nice one at 14th. In the fifth race, very open, I believe. I didn't have much help from anything here. like Catalea is the line horse, line bet, our own handicapping system. And that's a 7-1 with a 33% chance to win. Raising Queen is the favorite, 26% chance to win. Priceless also, and Priceless got this red batting, in other words, outside the distance category. But the important part here for me for Priceless was that the bat curve, the consistency curve, gives it a 16.09 lengths advantage to the field on the last 8 months. And that is partly because Priceless is only running in his third run, so obviously has to be considered to be improving some more. What I don't like about it, and that's why this is red bats, is he's only run the 1,000 and the 1,200, so it's a question mark whether he would like to step up to the 1,600 in this specific affair. So yeah, all that considered, we ended up with Broadway Girl with the Yellow Star 1. Now Broadway Girl is a horse that comes very well off a rest. That's that red flame there. In other words, it says when it comes from a rest, its win place percentage is above 70%. Got flames because it was third, fourth, first, consistent, lightning bolt flames, and Dennis Dreyer, owner and trainer with a mini feature BBEM thrown in here as well. All of that considered best adjusted time, exotic ranking, overall ranking, form, statistical form, and total points. It ended up as Broadway Girl being your top rated in this race. In our instance, I'm not saying every top rated wins, but we did have Russian Empire top rated yesterday at 50-1. So, next race, very, very bright red Persistence. Now, when it gets that very, very bright red, this is a classified stakes. Now, no one can tell me that Persistence is just all of a sudden as not persistent, that he has lost himself a nice from 80 merit rating to 58, 22. The 22 merit rating points equals 11 kilograms. He had some much better form recently, and if he gets back to this kind of a form, and I'm not saying he's old, he's only born in 9 October 2018, he could make his presence felt from a 1 draw today, so Persistence must be in the mix here. I also believe Jury Duty is a decent horse and top rated, the 1 Yellow Star. She's my captain, is also an orange one, but orange one with Harold Crawford's only race entered. That's why you see the little 1 there, and Harold Crawford with Joker as well. Owner Mr. Long and Mr. Ricks. Now, Mr. Ricks is also the owner of a very special horse in the country that is trying to win the Met again this year, so won't be throwing out the chances for Richard French. He is my captain either. And then another interesting runner for me, just purely based on the bat 42 runs form. On second, just behind Persistence, is a horse called Silver Salmon, also dark red for Mr. Kotson, that has untrained the horse sufficiently from a 96 merit rating to a 73, 23 points gone missing, 11.5 kilos gone missing, and it might just be time to find those kilos again. Moving on to the next. Red Impact operated here, Brent Crawford and Kagiso Matsinyane has a nice little gap here on 3 lengths on the bat 42 form, but the bat CD is actually worse than Dean Street on that 5.8 versus 9.9. So I'll throw in Dean Street as well. Then Bluff on Bluff, we have made a note here on the race side, Bluff on Bluff. Yes, for Brent Crawford. So you can maybe check the notes on there as well. We look on the bat figures, you can see where our friend Red Impact is moving nicely, but you can also see the nice improvement here of the green one, Dean Street, and the improvement of Bluff on Bluff here. This horse here, Elusive Trader, has done well, but is now going in the wrong direction again. So, I must admit, racing is not that easy today. Throw in all the horses from different centres, it couldn't possibly be easy. Then, in the next race, Charles Dickens is on the range at 5-10. Damn, 5-10 on a horse in a field that is 14 strong. Sorry, but that sounds like a bookies collection agency to me. So I'm going to look for value. My value is going to be Cousin Casey at my command in this race. I'd even look at something like interesting with the red flames here and the green flash. Only had 4 runs, so it could be much better. And it's the highest on intentions, 40-1 Le Morne, but got a bad draw to get past here. Yeah, at my command, cousin Casey, Shoemaker, Le Mans, Cadford Lights. And then another interesting one that Mr. Grant Maroon enjoys a lot and thinks highly of is Anfield's Rocket that hasn't done the 1600, but I watched that race and it kept flying at the death there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is also good enough. Also got a flame with Gavin Arena here. So yeah, you guys can back Charles Dickens, banker Charles Dickens. He does pop in at the bottom here quite nicely on the bet figures. On the bomb roll figures, he's equal with at Michael Moore, which is improving more. After at Michael Moore was better, he went worse, and he's now getting better again. On the collateral form, yeah, nothing really standing out. Maybe here's the finishing line. That's the industry finishing line for the exact same distance and the exact same handicap. Um, Merit rating handicap. So if you hit the green bar, you are pretty much ready to win. Basically, at my command, the only one hitting the green bar there. Moving to the ninth race, and I don't want to bore you too much longer. Ninth race, yeah, another interesting Peter Muscat as with Sean Veal, top rated here. Amilenze Yokudumaduma. As first choice was Silvano's Timer, also popping in very nicely on quite a few categories here. Third run race that looks set to be competing today. And then maybe something more, even something like Huge Outsider, Rocking Ringo. Doesn't pop up too far away from the rest. He's an older horse, that's why that's the old shows, but he does have flames with Jacobs, funny enough, Jacobs. 52% win place, so percentage, his bad figures aren't too bad. In fact, the second best to look at, but he's not consistent. That's why the consistency goes to Amil Lenzi or Yang or whatever. And then Cat Daddy, 20 to 1, doesn't look too bad here. Third run rested with Richard Randall Simon, still on his time, already said. Future Prince, not too bad off, don't like the idea that he's a red. Yeah, Warrior can be anything as well, also still on the improve. You see this one, Somerset Moon, doesn't look too bad on collateral form at the bottom here. And this one's running away nicely on the bat figure, hitting 5.34, Walla, and also on the bob roll figure, looking pretty decent there. Moving on to the 10th race. Yeah, I think it's probably a 2, max 3 horse race between Chance and Ed with some even bad forms here, lowest but red. Marina and then the other one, probably Silver Darling. Got a little bit of respect for by Bombshell as well. Because when I see Justin booking some serious jockeys, then he also must have some serious thoughts about the horses. So, so maybe by Bombshell could be very prone to huge upgrade, to huge improvement. Veronica Moss also doesn't look too bad here on the bat figure, going nicely in the right direction. Yeah, if you want to take a chance, Charles Lake Marina and maybe Silver Darling there, but if you don't want to take a chance, you'll have to add by Veronica. And the lucky last year, Ken Cotson's got 2 nice runners, Drinkoff and Olden Song for me. And next stage has got Future Swing and Runaway Song as well. So we got Cotson versus Snaith Affair here. In my opinion, interesting that the best figures on the bat is in red on Michael Faraday. And Candice loves feature races and feature days, and she also loves finishing with Mr. Right. So let's throw that out of the equation. Either Mr. Michael Faraday. Anyway, guys, so our VIP play is up and running here for our VIP members. They get notifications now, so they will get their picks for each day with their notes at how many points so far we're already up 420. Gosh, when we only started. And then the fantasy, of course, is there for everyone to play on our fantasy leaderboards. Needless to say, IPS is leading the leaderboard. IPS for the month, but some good competition for Zita Skipper, Liverpool, and Destiny, and all the rest. So do join in. There's daily prizes as well. That's pretty cool. And then we've got all our other good stuff in sport, most valuable picks in play for all the 25 sports we cover. And all the USA sports on its own separate place. And I wanted to show you one last thing. that we also added, which is pretty cool. On the daily report, you can see who's got the best intentions on the daily report, and we actually added a show owners. So instead of showing the trainer, we will now also show you the owner on just quite frankly flipping over there, show the owners, and then you'll see the owners changes here, and then you can still use your ranking averages for the best of three greenies. Greenies has now got a background. The red ones, that is the high merit rating drop dangers, they've got red backgrounds. And then if you can rank on ranking or on top rated count or top columns, top column count, 18, 17, 13 out of 22 is really decent. That's this Halligan, which doesn't have any, it's only got first timers, Icy Blast, and Mystic Cliffs. So you'll now see the owners here, and you can pick up potential doubles by owners or jockeys or trainers very quickly like that. Just back to the trainers. On the JTR combo side, I always love looking at this little green. Yeah, how many runs since his last winner? Like Ashley Fortune, 2 runs since his last winner. Dean Canemayer, 0. So I like that. Gavin van Zyl, 1. Ken Cotson, 0. Greg Enion, 0. But when it gets into bad territory, then they start getting desperate for a win again. Like Shane Humby, even though he's got a really good donkey there in the form of Mystic Cliffs, he's not on form at the moment, so that could be a little bit of a departure. Summerborn Marshall, 12 runs since his last winner, and I see Blast is a greenie there. So those are the little things. The more you practice, the luckier you get. Hope that helps, guys. And if you want to see what the jockey's intentions are, you don't have to sort it by training. You can also look at it from a jockey perspective. For each jockey, what each jockey has listed on for the day, what each guy has, and stand out for who's going to be your best jockey for the day. You can spot those quite quickly and efficiently now as well. So yeah, hope you enjoy all the beautiful changes. It costs a fortune. But yeah, the love of the game. Have a great day.